What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. You guys are watching Theory Hammer, and today we're going to be going over my updated Leagues of Votann army list. So the last video that I made had to do with the Cherokee Open and the list that I was going to bring with me to that event. Well, I went to that event and I learned a lot about what my list could do and what my list could not do. And so I went ahead and I upgraded it. The link to that video is down below. It's going to be outdated at this point, but if you guys want to check that out and see the list that I actually ended up going to that event with, feel free to check it out. I'm going to go over exactly what the changes that I made, kind of what the army does now, how it kind of works, like I usually try to do, and just what units I have and what they do in game. So this is my current 2,000 point Leagues of Votann list. If you guys know Leagues of Votann, you know that they don't have all that many units. And so a lot of these lists are going to look pretty similar to an extent. So it's pretty self-explanatory. We now have 2 land fortresses. Instead of 4 Sagittars, we now have 2, and we've replaced 2 of those Sagittars with land fortresses. Now, I was able to do this through a couple of means. I used to have 3 units of the Berserkers. I took a unit of those out. I also used to have a 10-man Terminator unit. I made that a 5-man. So now we've had some points to play with, and I was able to take out the Sagittars, upgrade those to land fortresses, and I even have enough points for the squad of bikes. So I now have 3 squads of bikes. So just taking it from the top here, we'll just start with the bikes themselves. This is 2,000 points on the nose if I use a call over here, which I'll get to that in a little bit. Otherwise, I think it's 1990. So I decided 3 units of bikes was the way to go. I had 2 of them before in my other list, and they just weren't doing what I needed them to do. So 3 units of bikes is where we landed with this list. And I really like the way that these things perform. They just kind of sit back in my backfield, and they just pepper stuff most of the game. They can do actions really easily, and they're pretty cheap. They're 90 points for these units of bikes here. You can't get better than these things. They can hop on and off the table, so you can reposition them every single turn. And they're a really nice utility unit to have for their points cost. They shoot really hard for their points costs. They're just great. They're great, they're great, they're great. So we've got 3 units of those. We then, of course, had to take the squad of Jaegers, because the Jaegers allow my army to actually use its scout ability, because these have scout, and those have scout. The Sagittars also have scout. If your army has a lot of scouting units, you're going to need an Infiltrators, because people will infiltrate close to you with their Infiltrators and prevent your scouting. So we have a unit of these guys. They're all equipped with the plasma knives except for the AMP launcher. I do have a sniper rifle here that's modeled in the unit just because that's how I built them, but I'm just not using it anymore. It's just a plasma knife now. It never fucking does anything, so it's a plasma knife. Now, I didn't actually talk about the loadout on these, so I'll just go over that real quick. They're all equipped the same way. They're actually a rotary cannon, so the high-las rotary cannon on each one. That one's modeled differently. But on the list itself, it's high-las rotary cannon, and supposed to be a high-las rotary cannon. They ignore cover, they ignore stealth. That's what they have. They don't have a whole lot of options besides the ignore cover nor stealth stuff. So that's what they get. All 3 units have the same thing. They've got their auto cannon as well, strength 7, AP 1, 2 damage. 3 shots a guy, so it's just a ton of shooting that these things have. And they have grenades too. So do these. But these are just an Infiltrators with a reactive move that allows me to kind of get in people's way. Or they'll kind of position in this ruin and kind of try to take up space and then push out later on. So the Jaegers are really, really nice. Now the original list that I had that was running land fortresses, I still really, really liked this 10-man Terminator brick that was just mutilating everything it looked at. So I couldn't afford to have the Berserker squads. This was something I grappled with for a while. I really like these things. They're really, really good. So I had to put them in the list, and I decided that the 10-man Terminator squad, which is now a 5-man Terminator squad, that 10-man Terminator squad was overkill. So I decided to not use it anymore, and the list just is a little more streamlined. It kind of just performs the way I want it to now. So we were able to get the 2 units of Berserkers in there. Super duper good units, strength 9, AP 2, flat 3 damage with 3 attacks in combat. If they are hitting something with a judgment token, they're hitting on 3s and then +1 to wound, potentially if there's 2 tokens on there. These things are awesome. They fight on death on a 4-up. They can slow stuff down with the grenade launcher. They hit really hard. I have a strat, so this is Oathband. I have a strat where I can give them +2 AP if they're hitting something with 2 tokens. Like, they will just punch up so hard, and that's why I had to have them in the list, because these are annoying to deal with. They can put a lot of pressure on your opponent, and they will punch up really hard sometimes. So really good to have, and I really, really wanted to have them in there. So that's what they got. They also have Feel No Pain. Moving on along to their transports here, we've got 2 Sagittars. They're equipped the same as the other list. They have the high-las, whatever the fuck that's called, high-las beam cannon, and then they've got the bolt cannon underneath as well. So 2 of these things. One of them though, so the way this works is 1 squad of these gets inside 1. The other one splits the unit of Hearthguard in half first. So these actually start on the table almost every game. They then hop inside after that point, and then they kind of do what they need to do. But I have to use the Sagittar to split the unit in half, and then later get inside. So that's kind of how this, little bit of a tech piece, I guess you'd call it. I use this to split the unit. Now I've got 2 units that have sticky objectives. This shoots really hard. You know, it's 50 points at that point. It's just annoying to deal with. They get out, they move behind, you know, something like this. Like, this will usually start around here. Guys will get out, they'll jump behind cover. The guys, the hammer guys, the berserkers behind here, they hop inside, transport moves up, and it's basically the same thing as me starting with them inside of it. So that's kind of a little trick that I use there. So I'll just kind of go over the next unit, which would be that unit of Hearthguard guys. They have the high-las, both the high-las guns. They just got a ton of shots. Plasma pistol, close combat weapon, 4-up invuln, they ignore cover, they can get they can get CP back on a 5-up. Like, they've got mostly everything in this unit. The other 5-man, which usually just sits in the backfield, they have the 6-up Feel No Pain. So they just sit on the backfield, you know, sticky objectives. This unit comes up, sticky objectives, something else, maybe the center. Just really awesome unit, 50 points. Like, they just do actions really well. They shoot pretty hard. They can throw grenades. They're just stellar. Thumbs up to those guys. So 3 units of bikes. The unit of Jaegers, the 2 units of Berserkers with their transports, and the Hearthguard. Then we have the meat and potatoes, or at least more meat and potatoes. 3 units of Terminators. They are all equipped the same. So, Einherjar Champion, 5 guys, they all have Volkite. They all have the fucking power fist things, and then the sergeant guy has the hammer, the concussion hammer, I think it's called. They're all equipped the same way. All 3 units. These things shoot really hard, especially when they get out of this land fortress, which sometimes shoots hard, sometimes does absolutely nothing. It's very thematic. It's very much like one of these casino cannons. The whole thing either like just one-shot something or it doesn't do anything. When you get out of a land fortress, if it shoots the same target as, say, your Terminators, they reroll wounds. So now they have Volkite with reroll wounds. They're awesome in combat. They hit really hard in combat. Strength 9, they're only 2 attacks piece unless you're the hammer guy. But Strength 9, AP 2 can become AP 4 with a strat. +1 to wound, you know, plus the character. They also do impact mortal wounds, and they reroll charges, which I really like these Einherjar champions. I'm starting to like them more and more the more that I play with them, because those impact mortal wounds, they can just do so much for you. And when you have a strat to fall back, shoot, and charge, that makes them even more annoying. Now, for the 3rd unit here, they stay in reserve every single game. I rapid ingress them on turn 2 or turn 3 every single game. Now, this is kind of a proxy. So there's 2 different versions of this list. There's one that has 3 Einherjar champions, and there's one that has 2 Einherjar champions and the Call. I've been running him as an Einherjar champion in my test game because he's on the same base. I don't think I own a 3rd Einherjar champion. I don't know, is there an Einherjar champion over here somewhere? I don't know. There's a Call over there. So probably not. I've been running him as an Einherjar champion because I really, really like the reroll charges, and I really like the impact mortal wounds. And having 3 separate units that can impact mortal wound stuff, it adds a lot of damage over time, and I just don't really use the Call for his ability that much. He was great in a 10-man unit when I could get lethal hits on the whole 10-man unit. That's awesome. But the not being able to reroll charges, the not having impact mortals, on a 5-man unit, I think I'd just rather have the Einherjar champion. If I'm running the Call, it's exactly 2,000 points, because this unit whichever character I choose here. This is the only one that has an enhancement. It's of course the Appraising Glare, so I can just pick an objective that you control. Anything on there counts as having an additional judgment token. Other than that, they are equipped the same, so Volkite, all the other stuff's the same, except they have a teleport crest, whereas these guys don't have a teleport crest because they don't need a teleport crest. So 4-up invulns on the Sergeant and the character there, and then over here it's going to be teleport crest and then whatever other enhancement. So 4-up invuln on the guy and then teleport crest, I think is how that works. Pretty sure. I'm actually not sure now that I'm saying it out loud, but I'm pretty sure that's how you equip those crests on these guys. If you do take the call, you do get a 5-up invuln crest, which is interesting. So he can give you a 5-up invuln, lethal hits, and then you can pick units that he can see, gives them a judgment token, and they just have it. But you lose out on the impact mortal wounds, you lose out on the reroll charges, and you lose out on having a character that can punch pretty damn hard. These Einherjar champions, while they only have 3 attacks, when they hit something that has 2 tokens, they can become AP 4, they're +1 to hit, +1 to wound, at strength 12, potentially AP 4 with D6 +1 damage per hit. These alone have had kill vehicles. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird trade-off, and I'd really like to know your guys' opinion down below. What do you think? Should I have 2 champions and 1 call, or just go 3 champions, just get as much as I can out of the damage they can do, I get as much as I can out of the reroll charges, get as much as I can out of the impact mortal wounds? I'm kind of curious what you guys think there. Now, the way the army works is pretty straightforward. These just deploy as far up as they can. They scout. This unit always deploys in an area where they're going to end up within 9 inches of this after it scouts so that they can get inside. Because even if I roll a 1 on their advance, I have to end up within 3 inches with the whole units. They've got to be able to get inside. So I have to position this perfectly. I guess perfectly isn't the right word, but I have to position it correctly. So both those go there. They move up. They scout. These things kind of just hang out on the sides and in the middle, maybe somewhere around here, back there, and over here. They tend to just scout behind the wall, but sometimes they'll scout out if people are deploying like real stupid, but generally speaking, they're going to go backward. So those are the bikes. That's kind of what they do. These guys are going to infiltrate up. They're going to make sure that I can actually scout, or they're just going to get in the way later on. Like I'll deploy them behind the wall here. If I go first, move them up probably if they don't have any actions to do. Probably advance them. And then they have a reactive move. They're just going to get in your way, hopefully jail you unless you're Eldar and you can just fly over me. Or you're like Imperial Knights or something. They're pretty good at that. And they're pretty cheap. They have a lot of benefits. So great unit to have as well. The land fortresses, they generally will deploy kind of centralized, and we usually pressure these first. We would push these up, stage kind of around here. The land fortresses then can move out, dump out their guys, do a ton of damage and shooting, and then these guys generally will back up whatever area of the table needs it, because they're always going to start in reserve, and they're going to come down and help out wherever is required. And then the bikes, every single turn, they're popping off the table, almost always. 2 or all 3 units are popping off the table and just lending fire support to all these other units that need it. And this has just been performing so much better than my other list that I took to the Cherokee Open. I'm actually going to be taking this list to ACO this year, so ACO 2025. That's the Atlantic City Open. That is going to be in New Jersey. It's sometime in June. Pretty sure it's in June. We're doing a team tournament, so me and my team are going there, and we're gonna try to do the thing. This is the list that I'm going to be taking, and the only thing that I have to figure out is whether or not this guy is a call or an Einherjar champion. And I'm really thinking about taking the champion instead. So that's the whole list. It's 2,000 points. Let me know. I guess the only thing I didn't really mention is what these are equipped with, which is the conversion beamer, the ignores cover thing. They've got the bolters on the side, and they've got the Mater autocannon. So they're both equipped the same way. That's just the best way to run them. It was pretty obvious. I'll try to put the list in the description itself. So if you guys have any questions or comments, or you want to, tweak anything, what would you do? Let me know. Let me know down below. But especially let me know about the Einherjar champion, because I'm just not sure what to do with this guy. I do like having lethals. I do like being able to pick units to get, judgment tokens. I just don't think I need any of that stuff. I think I benefit more from having better output, and having a rerollable charge, and then getting that impact mortal wound as well. I think that's just better overall. I think he can do the same amount of damage this guy would eventually do by just being an 9 here champion. It's a little bit cheaper. So yeah, let me know down below. Make sure to thunderhammer the like, subscribe, and bell icon, and then check out the other videos as well. Maybe check out the second channel where I play video games that I'm very bad at. Yeah, do all the stuff. You guys rock. Theory hard, and I'll see you next time.